Welcome to the Bushido Gang. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Attack on Samurai. It's been a long time. It's been a very long time since I've done a video for you guys. Um, yeah, just how have you guys been? Hope you guys have been well and have are just doing all right and whatnot. Um, I haven't played I haven't done a recording in a very long time, as you can probably tell from the way from the way I'm talking right now. I have not done a video in a very long time, so gonna give me a minute to warm up a little bit. But but yeah, how are you guys doing? Hope you guys are all right, and are having a great uh New Year's Eve. Getting into New Year's. So as I'm recording this, today is tonight it's the 30th of December. I actually wanted to record a little bit earlier. I wanted to record a little bit earlier this month. But I got caught up with work and just my side stuff. So unfortunately, I was not able to put out any do any kind of videos and whatnot. So I apologize for that. Um I've been thinking about a couple ideas. I had a couple ideas in mind that I wanted to showcase, and not even just that, even just recording in general. I apologize this year for not recording that much, if at all, this year. A lot a lot happened this year. Even though, like, I don't know how to describe it, but it feels like a lot happened this year, but it also feels like a lot didn't happen this year, with my life. So I don't know how to really describe it, but yeah, just a lot happened. So, um, not like it was bad or anything. It's just a lot happened, and I didn't know how to split my time to record and take care of those things that came up. Um, I'll probably go into a little bit more detail in this video, but yeah. So kind of switching over to the showdown, switching over to Pokemon. See, even when I say Pokemon, it sounds weird now. I used to say Mons. I'm not dying. But yeah, Mons. So let's see. How do I talk about that? I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult for me to talk about, but yeah. So Mons. I'm still playing. I'm still playing. Um, Actually, I want to say that it was during September that I spent a good chunk of time playing the game again. But I wasn't playing OU really. I was mostly playing what's it called? I was mostly playing I can't even think of the word to say. I was mostly playing VGC. I was playing a little bit of VGC Regulation H. It was pretty fun. I enjoyed that metagame a lot. Um it felt kind of short. I kind of wish the regulation lasted a little bit longer, but it only lasted 4 months. A little under or a little well, almost 4 months. It almost lasts. Well, I guess I could say almost 5 months. But since the last like big tournament was back in early November, or late November, somewhere around that time. But yeah, so the meta's over now, and now everyone's going back to Regulation G apparently. Um, which I'm not that interested in that, but yeah, yeah, I did play a little bit of Mons after after actually making a bit more time or a bit of time. I had time because I didn't have a lot going on in September. So I was able to, put a little time into playing a little bit of Showdown again. Um, but yeah, over the summer it was busy. Over the summer it was busy for me, so I didn't get the chance to record like I wanted to, or I didn't know how to make the time to record, and be able to wake up in the morning and be like all ready to go for work, ready to go to work and everything and all those things. So it was more or less a time management thing, and I didn't know how to really do it. And now today, tonight as I'm recording, I do have work in the morning, so I don't want to make this too long of a video. But yeah, I so yeah, I had a couple. Like I said, I had a couple ideas I wanted to do for this that I wanted to do for this year, but a lot of things came up, and I wasn't able to really go through with them. First off, I want to say that I actually was going to that I had internships I was doing. Um, I got into two internships this year. Um, they were some I mean, one was a pretty big internship, and the other one wasn't like that crazy. Um, but it was just good learning experience for me. I'm 25, so it's not too late to get internships, but hopefully I'd like to get a couple more, or maybe get one more if I can, just to kind of have a little bit more experience, and then see where that goes from there. Um, but yeah, and then with work, again, I'm still working my part-time job. The first, not the first, but the other part-time job I had earlier this year, like literally last year, or almost like, I could say almost last year, January. My job had or my store, the store I worked at, had closed. Um Basically they couldn't pay the rent and everything like that, so the what's it called, the actual like franchise store couldn't hold us, so they let us go, and yeah, it kind of sucked. But I did have my other backup, and I was just trying to look for some other stuff in the meantime too. So that's kind of what happened during January, February, and March. Um, and then pretty much again during the summer, it was kind of it wasn't the same thing, but I was just learning getting into a new getting to a high like well, I'm just getting more experience with the work I'm in. Um, so yeah. Basically, I just didn't know how to make time for myself to actually play again. So that's kind of what happened throughout this year. So again, I really want to apologize to you guys. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that I never had the chance to come back and do videos again. And do Showdown Lives again, or just really like any video in general. I apologize so much for that. Um, that I was not consistent this year. This is the first time that I've been this way. And I want to try. I see every time I say I want to try, it doesn't really work. saying I want to try. I and then even saying like I will or I want to. Just saying those phrases doesn't really make it a reality. So um all I can say um is that videos may happen again. Videos may happen again. I don't know when. I don't know if I'll be able to make a consistent schedule right now, but I will try. There I go again saying I will. Um I'm going to make a schedule. I just need to write it out and plan it, and then make sure that I can be consistent with it. Um and that's pretty much what it is. I will say that this month should be a little bit more well, it should be a little bit more free for me, I think. Um but I think so. I think so. I don't know 100%, but I think it'll be a little bit more free for me. Um but But yeah, again, I had a lot of ideas for Showdown Lives for this year. Like for example, I had Gouging Fire in mind. Um, it was actually supposed to be a thumbnail for January, because Gouging Fire is supposed to be one of my first Showdown Lives. Getting into the new year. Um, and uh, and yeah, I never got that. I never got to actually use it. So, um, like use it in a video anyway. The mon got banned. I think sometime during the summer. It got banned from OU, so it was kind of problematic with its sets and terras. Most of the terras kind of got in the way of it, but it was a very strong mon. Um, I don't know how that mon's doing now in NatDex UU, or not NatDex, but in Uber's UU, but it's probably doing work there too with its terras and all. But yeah. Again, this was a mon I had a plan on showcasing and never did. Same with Iron Crown. Same with even I really wanted to focus on gouging though, but I just, again, like I said, never had the chance to do it. So again, I apologize for that, not being able to do a video, like I said, for this year. um, Recording and whatnot for this year. Um, so yeah. Um, So the other thing I wanted to show for this year, or for this that I wanted to show, is just like what I've been doing, in terms of playing Showdown, like outside of, or yeah, pretty much getting back into Showdown. So, um, I played, like, again, like I said in the beginning, I played a lot of VGC, well, not a lot, but I played like a good a good bit of it, on my own time, and it was fun. Again, like I said, I really enjoyed Regulation H. It was pretty cool. I don't see myself going back into VGC right now, but maybe at some point I might. But I really like the lower scale power level that it was, which made me want to get back into playing the lower tiers again. So I played a lot of ZU and a bit of PU. Didn't play too much NU. Played some RU. I played a lot of UU. Like, actually, as I'm recording, um, I want to say it was yesterday. No, no. I think yesterday or the day before. Anyways, it was like 2 days where I was just grinding the UU ladder, and I was using Skeledirge. Now, Skeledirge is a mon that I like for the type of player I am. I usually prefer teams that are. I usually prefer using mons that aren't too. Also, this is OU. My bad. Let me go to UU. Usually, I don't like to use mons that are like super tanky. Well, not super tanky, but like, have a case of being kind of a stall mon. But Durst never really felt like that to me. It's very good in stopping other setup mons, but outside of that, I mean, but even then, it's pretty good in just kind of steamrolling itself, or in kind of snowballing a little bit. Um Again, it's not like amazing at it, but it's not like, I don't want to say amazing at it, but it's unique because it's one of the few unaware mons. No, not few. Clef did it first, but um but it's a very good check into a lot of the offense that's happening in the metagame right now. That I've noticed a lot of, with setup spam, for Dirge, or against mons, against mons in the Dirge. So, things like Scizor, things like Latios, things like Hydrapple, things like, what's it called? Not Cobalion. Cobalion just gets walled in general. But things like Quavo, things like Sinistra, even with Terra, it just switches up the matchup on them too. So I've actually been enjoying this thing quite a bit. It's been fun. I also been enjoying Quavo too. Quavo's pretty good as well. Apparently that mon is on a rise at the moment, from what I've been seeing in the forums. This mon is kind of crazy. And it's very good on hyper offense, apparently. Hyper offense, and even like hyper offense, and even on some balance and bulky offense teams. Because Quavo can do multiple things. It can be a breaker. Or again, it could be a sweeper. It could also be a defensive mon as well, with Roost and default, with Roost and Rapid Spin. So it has a unique quality to it. So, um, or unique play style to it. Not unique. Sorry, my bad. But it has multiple play styles it can do. And Dirge is kind of a one trick pony, but it's very good at what it does. It's very good at what it does. With, again, walling a lot of the setup mons in the tier. Um, but uh, but yeah. So where am I trying to go with this? So I've been building. It's like so again. I've been building a couple things with Dirge. Um, and even have some replays of using Dirge too. Because again, like I said, I'm just starting to learn this mon, and somehow I managed to get almost 1500 on ladder. so Dirge is definitely it's very good. It's very good, but it's such an easy bot to use. Well, easy in the sense that like it can just be you can kind of autopilot with it a little bit, but also like in the sense that it's just free almost into most physical attackers. And I say most of them, right? Because I mean, you want to bring this thing in when it's at full, not when it's like chipped and everything into most of those said physical attackers, like for example something like, well, I mean, I could just go down the list. Arcanine destroys this. Azu destroys this. Well, it depends on if Azu's slower. If Azu's slower, then Dirge can potentially burn it. um Blissey, yeah, if you can trick it, then you can beat it. uh Dirge, or not Dirge, Claude can toxic this, and Dirge can't really do much back to it besides burn it. And if Dirge does Terra Poison or Terra, pretty much Terra Poison is like one of the main Terras that Dirge uses here in UU. I know that when Dirge was in OU, I remember you running Terra Water a lot. Um, Terra Water and Terra Fairy. Um, and I mean, it can still run Terra Fairy here too, but Poison is just better in terms of being able to cover for the poison types in this tier, and just Toxic, because there's a lot of mons that run Toxic in this tier. Mainly being Claude, Mandibuzz, and there's another one I'm missing. Um, well, those are the main ones. Oh, and Pex too, but Pex you mostly see on like Balance or Stall, and I've only seen Stall so far as I've been laddering, maybe like twice, about twice, I think. Um, but yeah, mainly Mandibuzz and Claude are going to be the main toxic mons. So that's why you want to run Terra Poison to cover for those two, because again, it can get pretty dicey if you get poison, and Dirge just becomes pretty useless. So yeah, I've been trying like different ideas with Dirge. Like I wanted to try it with balance, and I kind of made balance, but it wasn't really balanced. It just ended up being bulky offense. So this was my first attempt with it, or one of my attempts with it. Actually, I have multiple attempts. I even have multiple replays of it. But I tried this one right here with Dirge plus Hydrapple. I really like that core. Dirge and Hydrapple make a really like solid core together. With Dirge being able to cover for Hydrapple's weakness to ice, and Hydrapple covering for its ground weakness as well, and also covering for its water weakness too. So Hydrapple just has very good synergy with Dirge, and that's kind of why I like these two together. They make a good core. Um, and then I have some other stuff too with Slitherwing, Mandibuzz, Metagross, and then Crocodile too. And funnily enough, like going back into RU, right? And RU, because I still play, I enjoy RU too. RU is very fun too. But I know that, um, I know that a Scarf Crook can be pretty deadly, in the right hands. So this mon can go pretty insane, and Terra Poison on a mon like this, oh, it's so free. It's so free. It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice for the offensive side of things. So I just have a bit of offense coming from Wing, Hydrapple, and coming from Crook, and then I have utility coming from Metagross and from Mandibuzz. The Metagross set was very fun. It's pretty much like, um I mean, I want to say that it's like Bronzong pretty much, just like how it's ran in RU and even in NU. Um, but just not having the ground immunity to it, and also Heavy Slam just doing a lot more, and also Heavy Slam just being one of Metagross's main stabs and just doing a lot of damage to lighter things. But I really like Psychic Noise on it. Psychic Noise helped a lot into breaking through balance cores. So it got me through stuff like Clodsire. Actually, it got me through. It almost got me through a Pecharunt, but again, I'll show that off at some. I'll show that replay off at some point. I even tried Protect with it too. Protect was pretty nice. Just to give it a little bit more recovery back. Um, so I mean, this set can run lefties, and it seemed to be pretty good. But yeah, again, like the whole like journey with Dirge, I kind of had to play around different cores to try to get like the best options. Like I tried running Dirge with Swampert, and it was terrible. It's only because like Perk kept getting status too quickly. Like it got status by burns. It was not a good time. So I decided, you know what, this ain't it. Let me just get something that's a little bit more aggressive, and that can put a little bit more pressure on things like that. So I think I had drill at one point on this kind of build, um, and just some other ideas and just some other things too. At one point, it was starting to look like it was a DPP team. Then it shifted to a black and white team, and then it just shifted to this. So that's kind of how it went. Um, but yeah, apparently Dirge does have pretty good balance cores in mind. Like pairing it with something like Cobalion, which I have right here. Pairing it with Toxapex for a more like balanced core. So like you could do like Pex, or you could do Pex plus Cobalion. You could also do Dirge with hold on, let me just go back here. You could do Dirge with low kicks for a more like offensive kind of core too. Cause I've seen that. I actually did see. Actually, it was a team like this. Hold on, let me see if I can remember it. It was um. I know I remember these three. I remember seeing these three. I think there was a Peach on it. I don't remember exactly, but I think Petrunch was on. I think Petrunch was on it. I think I remember seeing Donphan, and it was either Hydrapple or it was something else, but it was some type of core like this. Again, you guys can let me know what it actually was, but I think it was something like this type of team I saw at one point. That was in the forums anyway. Um, but yeah, you can make teams like these with Dirge. Like Dirge isn't all balance. It can work on bulky offense. It can work on stall too. Um, and again, like yeah, it just works on pretty much every playstyle. It's a very unique it's a very unique unaware mod. But unfortunately, it's not better than Clefable, which is immune to pretty much everything. Well, I don't want to say it's immune to everything, but it's just it's a very solid Calm Mind Sweeper with Unaware. I do think that if Dirge had Calm Mind, I think it'd be a little bit higher. I think. But that's not the case with Dirge. Encore is still something interesting. That's something I'd like to try in the future with this. But Encore, it's difficult to run Dirge with anything else besides Torch Song, Wisp, Slack Off, and then like Shadow Ball or Hex. It's difficult to run anything else. Or if you're going with the offensive set, which goes like Flame Charge, Torch Song, um, yeah, if you go like flame charge, torch song with it, just continuously getting boosts with it. Also its speed is just very odd too, being base 66. So it's just gonna be able to outspeed like a decent chunk of things after a +1 boost. So it has a very odd speed tier, and it works very well for it. So yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna show off some of the gameplay I've had with Dirge. So let me see if I can find it. I got a couple. This is actually a different team I was using. I was using Life. I think this was Life Orb. No, this is a lefties. Leftovers Quavo with Scarf Metagross. That was fun. That was fun, and I had instant too. But that was very fun. Um, I fought this guy a couple times on ladder too. I think I fought him like 5 times. Like bro was laddering. But let me see if I can find that team. Yeah, here we go. So this was the first iteration of it. Um, or one of the last iterations of it. So I actually think I have some earlier versions. No, no. Well, this is actually the latest one. This is the latest one with Flygon. I was just curious about how Flygon would work. Um, and again, same with that one. And yeah, this is actually the latest. This was the latest one. This was the one I did today. I was trying a kind of a black and white. I want to say more Gen 6 kind of core, but I think black and white's more appropriate. um, but yeah, I tried a little black and white thing, and I tried it with this one too. And this game was. Oh, let me tell you about how that game went. But I'll tell you later. It was pretty bad. And in this, I was just trying something weird, and it somehow worked. So again, I'm gonna just go in order. So let me go back to this game right here. Not that one. This one right here. So I fought this guy, and this guy had like a balanced team, balanced sand. And let me tell you that balanced sand was tough. This was a tough game for me. It was tough because I had no idea what was going on. Like I just knew that it was okay, this is balanced sand, but I didn't know like the whole I didn't know like the whole identity of the team besides, he's got T-Tar and Drill, which means that he likes the sand and or they sorry, my bad. They like the sand and whatnot. Um and then Mandibuzz toxic things, and Mandibuzz is pretty much the only defogger in UU. um, I mean, in general, there really aren't that many good hazard removal. Like, there's not in general in Gen 9 hazard removal is kind of dead. like, there's really not a lot of ways to remove hazards. So Mandibuzz is pretty much one of the most reliable ones. But yeah, on this team, I don't think it was defog. I think the drill was just gonna be spinning. Um, yeah, I'll show you how the game went anyway, because I was talking too much. So I want to remind you, like, real quick, what this team is. So this is the Meta Crook team. Um, Now I have a Terra Poison on Dirge. I have Terra Ground on Hydrapple. Some people go Terra Poison because it covers for Hydrapple, or because it covers for Petra and also other poison types. Um, but I like ground because I think it's good offensively. And also even defensively, it still has kind of it still has a resistance, and also an electric immunity is good to have too, especially one that can regen. Like that's pretty nice. Terra Fight Slytherin because I want more damage. Mandibuzz is Terra Steel. This is meant to cover for opposing Mandibuzzes. Metagross was Terra Water. I think at the time when I played that game, I think I might have made it Terra. I think it might have been a different Terra. I don't remember exactly. And then Crook was Terra Poison the whole way through. So here's the thing about a team like this. I thought Terra Poison Crook would be a good idea into this team because it looked like it could do a lot of work, and it really does. Like it has a lot of offensive potential into it. However, I learned the hard way that that wasn't it. So let me show you what I mean. So turn one, they lead Quag, and I lead Metagross. Now Meta lead into Quag. Thinking about this, like in my brain, I'm thinking, okay, Quag is going to get up rocks. I can go Mandibuzz and get around that and whatnot. Um, I don't want to reveal Psychic Noise either because I want to keep that in the back for Petrarch. The idea is to try to bait the Petch in and then Psychic Noise it for a good chunk of chip. Also, another thing to mention is that the Petrarch, I think it was I think it was Parting Shot, so it actually can't Parting Shot on my Metagross. So that's one important thing to note. Um, but yeah, like offensively, Metagross can do a lot once Quag has been chipped. Um, but it's gonna take a little bit, as you're gonna see. But anyways, I get my rocks up and we just trade. I get up rocks, they go for spikes. I go Hydrapple and they toxic immediately. Like they predicted the hell out of me, which is crazy. It's just crazy. But I mean, honestly, it was fair. I had no other switching into this, and I was kind of fearing Earthquake, but I didn't really need to because because my Metagross is max defense. But again, this is me talking post game. I had no idea what this Quag was doing. Um, I just thought Hydrapple was the safest switching, and unfortunately, it was not. Quag carries Toxic too, so I cannot forget about that. Quag isn't in UU, but it is in RU. I think should be in RU. No, it is in RU. And it's pretty good there too with unaware stuff going on there. But let me see if I can find Quag. Because Quag should be in RU as well, unless I'm stupid. Nope, Quag is in RU. So the Mon does get play there too, or has been getting play there. But yeah, Quag is pretty good on balance and even on stall teams. Uh, anyways, Toxic hurts me. So they Toxic me. My Hydrapple being Toxic is the worst thing possible, and they get Mandibuzz in right away. So I go for a U-turn and it does 27. That is okay damage, but just nothing crazy. They go for Toxic on me as I thought I'd stay in, which I'm not this time. They go Quag there as I go for a Heavy Slam, which did 19%, which actually isn't that bad. And also, they did take Rock Chip, um, so they're not boots. So they were more than likely lefties, which I believe they were. Yes, indeed. So they were lefties there. I go for Heavy again. It is 21%, which is pretty good damage. They're getting up spikes again. And at this point, I kind of feel safe enough to go for Psyshock or to go for Psychic Noise. So I think I do it here or I wait. I think I do it here though. Yeah, I do it here. So that prevents them from recovering. It also prevents them from going for anything else. So yeah, I saw the recovery there immediately. Then they bring in Tar. And this is where I fucked up. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. So I have body press on this Metagross. Now you're probably wondering, Samurai, why would you run body press on Metagross? Well, my good friend, I ran body press because I thought it would help for T-Tar, but also not just T-Tar, but also like other dark types too, and steel types. So opposing Metagross, what's it called? Skarmory even, things like that. But little did I know that did not work out too well for me. I do go for heavy on the turn though, and it does nothing. Now you're probably wondering, okay, why did Heavy Slam do nothing? It's because T-Tar's fat as shit, so that's why. No, my apologies, madam. But but yeah, press actually was the play. But again, I don't know that, or I didn't know that at the time. Um, or I didn't make that. I couldn't make that prediction at the time. Heavy was pretty free into them though, so I can't say that exactly, but Heavy was free. Um, and defensively, they do have their only heavy switching is going to be Quag, but Quag took too much damage. Again, it took 21 at most, so Heavy's going to be able to knock it in two, um, especially after Rock Chip potentially. Actually, it's a roll. It's a roll actually. But so Heavy was safe. Um, and now they switch out, and I go for press on them, and that's where things go horribly wrong. So what I should have kept doing was actually kept pressing, was kept heavy slamming. Like again, they had no real switching, and again, like I said, I'm talking about this post game. They had no real switching to Petch or into heavy slam. Heavy slam, even though again I know that Metagross is defensive, but just to show you the damage output from it into Petch, because Petch is actually is actually like pretty light. Petch would have taken a decent chunk from it. It's not like a ton, but it would have taken at least something from it. So Heavy would have taken. Well, that's adamant. That's adamant. So it would have taken because mine's Impish with a little attack investment. So Impish with a little attack investment, it would have done at least like 30. So it's not something crazy, but it would have done at least a little bit. Like 30 to 35 is decent chip. That's decent. Um and they can't really recover since they know I have psychic noise. Um and their Terra, if they have it, is fairy. As I'm looking on the side. So they really couldn't pressure they really couldn't do much back to me. Um so I think they're gonna switch. So I think I heavied. No, I psychic noise. It's like you guys never mind. Again, I'm just playing it as straightforward as I see it. I'm going Hydrapple because I'm scouting for foul play, but instead they just roost and just say I don't care about what you do. Now this Mandibuzz is a problem, right? You're probably wondering why is it a problem? It's a problem because I have nothing else to really hit it with. I do have knockoff on Crocodile. There's that to mention. And again, I haven't terrored yet too. So there's that too. But yeah, foul play does 14, but because of the toxic chip or toxic and sand chip, this is gonna add up very quickly. So I cannot stand with Hydrapple like I want to. I have to go Mandibuzz, and I have to try and bait and I have to try and catch it with toxic if I can. If I do catch it with toxic, that's great, but they obviously know that, so that's why they go Petch on that. So they make the Petch play there. They double back in the Mandy on my double as I go Crook, and now this is where things get bad. So in my brain, when I brought Crook in, I was like, okay, here's what I can do. I can Terra Poison this, and then I can get around. Then I can get around this thing. I can also use it to absorb the toxic and everything, and I'd be okay. Wrong. That wasn't the play. The play. The play. Now, again, this is what I was thinking in my head. I thought that I knew toxic was coming. I knew it. Like it just made the most sense. Um, I again, I can knock it. I'd be able to chip it, and I'd be able to get rid of its boots. Um, but also something I forgot to mention earlier. That Draco meteor did only 42 from Hydrapple, so this thing is just not dying to anything. So what do I do? Again, I'm thinking that Terra Poison Crook can do work, and in all honesty, it can't really do much in the Mandibuzz. Like that was one of the things that I messed up on pretty badly in this game. And again, I'm learning. I'm learning Yu, right? I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure out how this metagame works and trying to like see all the nuances of it. But yeah, Mandibuzz is very strong into me. It's very strong defensively into me. So I can only have to make more aggressive plays to get momentum. And again, the Toxic really put me back with Hydrapple. Now, a Terra that would have helped me here, if it wasn't Crook, would have been Dirge's Terra. Dirge's Terra Poison would have helped me against Mandibuzz by a lot, because Mandibuzz, if it gets burned, it can't do much. Like his whole team can get burned. But again, I'm learning. I don't know these things yet. So instead of going for, maybe a Metagross or even going back into Hydrapple, I decided to Terra here. And again, like I said, it wasn't a bad play, but it wasn't a good play either. I just thought that I could get rid of the rocks, or I can get rid of the boots, and then I can get momentum. That's what I was thinking. But lo and behold, this mon with Terra Poison is just stupid. like Dirge with Terra Poison, it can solo teams. That's how good this thing is. No funny business. This thing is a monster as Terra with Terra Poison. It will destroy teams. Like I've seen it firsthand. This thing is nasty with Terra Poison. Like it just gets filthy. Like I cannot lie about that. But yeah, I do remove the rocks, I do remove the boots, which is nice. But again, like I said, long term, it doesn't really help that much, because and I do Nasty Plot too, and you're gonna see how much Draco does. It's gonna do nothing at +2. Like it does nothing. Why should I Giga first? I thought maybe they'd switch, but clearly they didn't care. um, but yeah, I do Draco here on the next turn, and it only did 75. Like that is sad. That is sad as hell. So so yeah, I have to switch. Because my Hydrapple it's still very good here, but like I said, I can't do much of this. Now, this is the moment of truth. If I get the Toxic on this, I'm in a great spot. But again, I have to bring this back first. I do force in the Petch, but here's the thing about Petch and Toxic, or Petch and Poison. Poison hurts me a lot. uh, this thing now that this thing has Hex, and now that my Hydrapple's poison, it's gonna be taking a lot more damage. So I go into Crook, and they go for Hex, and that does 26. That is a lot of damage into me. I go Hydrapple, and they go Mandibuzz. I predict the switch in, but again, like I said, I have nothing. Nothing on my team is fast enough to cover for Mandibuzz. Um, Also, nothing strong enough to handle Mandibuzz. Like, really, the only mon that could have done it might have been. It's probably Crook, actually. It's probably just Crook still. But I am weakening its roost, which is good. So it only has 3 roosts left. So my goal is to try and weaken its roost, or to try and like wear down the roost it has, and then be able to kind of pressure it a little bit more. So now it has only 2. Again, I can Draco this again, and try to get something out of it. But again, like I want to try and taunt this if I can first. And again, I don't get it because Petch comes in and just absorbs it. So I have to play the game again. I go meta here, and guess what happens next? I get crit. So my so yeah, I did a lot anyway, and I go Mandibuzz there, and they go for Hex there, And at this point, I'm just kind of like, okay, you know what? This shit's ass. This shit's ass. I go foul play, and it does nothing because Petch is just it's just a defensive beast and just doesn't die to anything. Hex is 26 at most, and they go into that guy. They go Mandibuzz there. Now, honestly, if I was a smarter player, I would have just gunk shot. But here's the thing, I'm not that smart. I'm still trying to figure things out. So if I had gunk shot on that turn, that would have been pretty good. It would have done a it would have done a good chunk of damage into Mandibuzz. And I would have gotten something out of it. Um, at least. But again, that's a hard bargain to go for. Especially this late in the game when it's only turn 33. But still, Gunk would have been fire there. But again, I'm not that good. So I go at Drapple. They go for foul play. Again, I can Drickle this again and force a Roost down. And I do force another one, so that's one down. And I go for Nasty Plot again. And again, I'm trying to just Drickle this down a little bit more. And then they reveal the move. I think actually no, not this. I think it's not. I think it's this turn or the following turn. They go Petch again. They're never letting this mod get toxic ever. I go for Defog. Now Defog was the worst play possible because I literally I kind of panicked there really with Defog. I wasn't sure what to do into Mandibuzz at this point. And again, this Petch is just kind of destroying me right now. I literally have no way to cover for it because Pex is poisoned, or I mean not Pex. Hydropple's poisoned. Mandibuzz is poisoned. Crook's at 24. Dirt Wing can't do shit into the Petch. Meta got crit, and then Dirge is just kind of food for Petch. So this thing is honestly the most annoying pain in my rear ever. Like this thing is just unbeatable right now. The only way I can beat it may be with Earth Power. And again, I'd have to try to play around Mandibuzz still too. So overall, this sucks. They go for Parting Shot as I go for a Roost to get myself healthy. But again, the toxic just sucks, and this thing in here right now is just terrible too. They go for rocks, and now this is where all my dreams die. So they go Petch, I U-turn, I get like nothing, and then I go Hydrapple, and this time just like okay, if I can bait this with Earth Power, I might be okay. But Parting Shot, so the Parting Shot happened. I do get an Earth Power off, and it does like nothing. so T-Tar just eats the hit for breakfast. I go Slithering again, and they knock there, and now everything is going downhill. This is the slow but sure, like death. A slow but guaranteed death is happening to my team right now. I bring in Crook, and again, Gunk Shot should be the play, but I can't do it. Actually, I think I did it here. I did do it here, but it didn't even kill it. It didn't even kill it. So that's great. So much for going for Terra Poison Crook. Um, I defog, but who cares? Um, they're alive, and that sucks. In comes U-turn, or in comes that, and guess what happens? Oh, I should not hear. My bad. Sorry. I can't Tautic this, but I think they do let me Tautic now. Nope, my bad. Sorry, not here. T-Tar comes in. Okay, great. That's what I wanted to come in. And now what I can do is, I could just, Draco it, and they go Mandibuzz, and again, or I Giga first. My bad. Sorry, I'm ahead of myself. My bad. Uh, but yeah. Again, like I said, I have no real switching into this one. They foul play there, and I can Toxic. I think they let me Toxic now. Nope, not here. My bad. Go meta. They bring in Peach, and I'm just hoping that maybe I can still. I'm trying to get out of range of Hex. That's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, Hex is still doing a lot with the poison and everything. So again, Patch is doing Patch things. They Parting Shot there, and I go for Toxic. I think just randomly, and it worked. So yeah, I got what I wanted, but it took 50 turns. So that's great. Um, and then they show U-turn. I'm just like, oh fuck. And then T-Turk comes in, and the crowd goes crazy. I roost there. They DC, but they come back anyway. It doesn't matter. I taunted them back, and because I was thinking about this for a long time, I was just like, okay, what am I supposed to do right now? Yeah, I just defog and just try and waste turns. But again, they're gonna just do this until my Mandibuzz dies, and it does die, and I can't do much about it. So I don't even get the kill on the T-Tar. That's the worst part about it. Um, I do get my rocks back up, but again, at this point, it's just kind of a slow death. A slow and painful death is happening. So I go Slitherwing, I take Chip, and they go for foul play, and it does a lot. And I have to try to roost up, or I have to try to recover back up. They go Peach, and Peach is just there to say, "Hello, my name is Peach, and you can't do anything to me." So that's what's happening. I go meta there and hoping they go for parting shot or recover, which they did. But again, like I said, Hex is going to destroy me. So goodbye, Metagross. You did a good job. I really think that the way I played Metagross is probably the worst I played this game. I really do think I handled Meta very badly in this game. I really had a good matchup into him or into my opponent's team, but again, they were able to pilot around it a lot better, and they were able to bait a lot of what I had. So they baited me with the patch, with the body press into Tar. But heavy was really the play in general. Like I should have been more aggressive with meta, and that's my fault. Um, but hey, that's how you learn. That's how you learn these games, and that's how you get better. Um, so yeah, in the future, now I know that with these types of cores, the best way is to just keep hitting. Because I mean, a lot of these mods are running boots anyway. Again, as you can see, Petch's boots, Mandibuzz's boots, the T-Tar's boots. The only mods that aren't boots are the Drill and the Quagsire because they're ground types. So every bit of chip does matter in a sense, if you can get it. So yeah. Anyways, I go Hydrapple and then they go for Toxic again, and it's a whole thing. Pretty much I just give up at this point because I'm just like, there's no point in playing this game out. I'm not gonna beat Petrarunt, and I'm not gonna beat this Mandibuzz since it's toxic. Draco, it does 24. Mandibuzz is a fat piece of shit, and they toxic there, and I'm just like, okay, you know what? Yeah, it's over. I'm not playing this shit out. So, uh, they hex me. It does a lot. I pretty much say GG at this point. 47 is actually a good chunk of damage, so I can that's something I can take for later. And again, like I said, Mandibuzz died, but it died when it didn't even matter. They parting shot, and T-Tar doesn't even die because of poison. Or actually, my bad, sorry. It wasn't rocks, it was smooth rock or something like that. Because I think the drill was sand. Low kicks lives. I go Slitherwing, and they go Yui, does a lot to me. They go in the Petch, and Petch just says, "Hello, my name is Petch, and you can't do anything." So I just kind of just just do this for a little bit more. Parting shot, Gig Drain, get the kill there, and then Hydrapple dies, and I just sit there and then just take the hit, and they just die, and that's that. So again, like I said, this game was difficult for a lot of reasons. Again, this balanced team just kind of hardwalled me, but mostly the Petch run was the thing that really just said, you know, it's over. But toxic really just hurt. Like triple toxic. Um, yeah, just triple toxic just really put me down. Like this is almost like it's almost like an ADV team in a sense to me, because a lot of ADV, or not a lot, but balance in ADV, they use a lot of toxic plus stand to just chip down everything. So that's kind of what this was. Just a slow chipping, and it just worked out for my opponent. So that's what this was. And again, they played it very well, and congrats to them. So that's kind of what happened there. But again, like I said, I played terribly, or I played predictably, and I played badly. I think is the right word. Well, I played predictably is actually the better word to say. I made a lot of very like easy turns, and I didn't really capitalize on my opponent that much. Had I had done that with meta, especially early on, I think I would have been in a much better spot, and I would have been able to get a lot more going for my team. But hey, again, it is what it is. I learned a lot. I learned from this game, and again, my opponent played very well with what they had. It was a very tough game though, and again, it mostly came down to that Mandibuzz just taunting everything. Um, Especially that turn two toxic was crazy. Like I, that's just crazy prediction. I could never do something like that turn one. Like honestly, he could have just kept foul playing in the Metagross because Meta was not breaking Mandibuzz. Like Mandibuzz is a mon that you really can't break it. You just can't break it. Like it lives so many different hits that it's not even funny how bulky this thing is. Like it just lives everything. Like Heavy Slam only did 30 to 36, and Foul Play would have just two shot me. Like I don't know what I'm supposed to do into that mon, and that's what makes it another like kind of pain to play against. It's not a mon that it's a mon that you have to like play slowly into. Um, and again, the one like the two things I would take from this, or that I'm taking away from this game, is that Terra Poison Croak is not good into balance. It's pretty bad into balance. Um, Terra Poison Dirge, now that right there would have cooked this team up. Like it would have done a a cleric or a clinic here. Because burning everything and being immune to toxic, that's just great. That's always great. Um, yeah, again, like I said, I didn't play it well, but I learned from this game. GG's to my opponent. Next game right here. So this one's a little bit easier. Um, they have a offensive team. Now Crook offensively looks very good into them. Knockoff is free in the basically everything. Look at this, like, look at this semi Gen 17. I was gonna say Gen 6, but you know, Pex is there. So, um, I guess we can. I guess this is, but I mean, I don't remember. I remember Weavile being around in Gen 7, but not like that much. And Keldeo was kind of falling off in Gen 7 too. So I really wouldn't count this as a Gen 17, but you know. And it was my opponent's team, right? So my opponent is running like a bulky offense kind of team. With these two broken, well, all three of these broken ass Gen 6 mons. You know, you got your good old fashioned core, then you got your fat build, then you have your spiker right there. So just a good old fashioned Hatcher stack. So let's break this down real quick. All right, let's break this down. So Dirge, what does Dirge do in this game? Dirge can Terra Poison and can ruin and can ruin my opponent today. That's what Dirge can do. Terra Poison shuts down Weavile, and it can shut down Pex. Those are the two biggest like pains in the rear to get through. So Dirge can handle those two with Terra Poison. That's number one. Number two, Hydrapple. What can Hydrapple do into my opponent? Um, I can bait out a Terra Ice with Hydrapple from the Sandy, and also just in general, Hydrapple with Nasty Plot just kind of smacks everything at +2. Nothing really takes a +2 Draco from this team, except for maybe Pex. But outside of Pex, nothing takes a +2 Draco. So there's that. So it's fairly free. Also, Earth Power is pretty free into my opponent too. Can't really switch out into that. Besides, you know, like Skarmory, but Skarmory doesn't want to take a Draco after an Earth Power, so there's that too. Or does it? Yeah, it doesn't want to take Draco after Earth Power, so there's that. At least once it's chipped enough, which can be chipped by Crook or even by Slitherwing. Speaking of Slitherwing, so here's Slitherwing is a very I like this one a lot, and apparently I was looking on the forums. This thing is rising in popularity. First impression, Slitherwing can kind of decimate a lot of hyper offense stuff. So let's go through the tier real quick so you guys can understand. Because you know when I play the game and when I want to talk to people about the game, I try my best to talk in a way to where you guys can actually visually see what I'm talking about. So Slitherwing in general offensively, it destroys Greninja. It hits Heatran. It can damage Hydrapple. It can threaten Latios. It can threaten low kicks. It can it can technically I don't want to say it can technically threaten Mamoswine, but it can hit it. That's important. It can chip Metagross. It threatens Ogerpon, both of them. Uh, Skip that mon. It can hit Quavo, it can hit Rotom, can hit Sandy, can take a hit from Sandy pretty well too, because Slitherwing has pretty good Spadef. Can threaten Serp. Uh, Skip that mon. It can threaten Slowking as well. It can chip Tank. And it threatens these two as well. First impression, close combat, or U-turn. Either way, these mons do not like taking hits from Slitherwing. So it's a pretty good anti offense mon, and again just great with first impression. So again, like just another like Slitherwing, or just another low kicks in a sense, but not having the dark coverage, which Slitherwing with dark coverage, that would be like broken. That'd be beyond broken. That'd be better than that. I don't think it'd be better than low kicks, but it'd definitely be damn good. I'd say that for sure. But yeah, again, this thing can pressure Low can pressure Lottie and can pressure Weavile. Can close combat the Sandy. Can chip Skarmory. Can chip Keldeo. It's good. The Mon hits hard, so that's important to know. Mandibuzz can defensively cover for Latios, and it won't die to Keldeo, potentially. There's that to note. I can Tonic it, and then I can just wear it down later on. Skarmory is whatever. Then we have Meta. Meta can check Pex very well because of Psychic Noise. Um, it can kind of pressure with Heavy Slam as well. Everything on this team is pretty light, so Heavy Slam will do a good chunk of damage into a lot of these mons here. Um, and again, like I said, Psychic Noise paired with Heavy Slam is still pretty nice in general. Like think of it, I don't want to say think of it like Future Sight, but in a sense, like the fact that you can stop recovery for one turn is so good. Like this mon with Psychic Noise is so damn good. Like I love it. I love this thing. Crocodile. Crook can sweep this team. Now, again, they're probably thinking, "Duh, that's so obvious. It's Scarfed, right?" Yes, it is Scarfed. So Scarf Crook, earthquakes everybody and knocks everybody. It's just free. Knock City, Knock City. Um, yeah, knock is free on Lottie. Knock is free on Sandy. Knock is free on Scarm. In general, just keeping everything low and just knocking things down is great. But also in general, it could be a great late game on with Earthquake. So the two things I have to worry about are actually three potentially. I at this point, like again, doing team preview, I don't know if Latios is going to be scarfed or not. I don't know if it's going to be Specs. If it is scarfed, then I'll find out with Metagross, which is why I decide to either lead that or lead Slitherwing into them. Um, let's see what else. Sandy usually isn't like booster. From what I've been seeing more boots, or air balloon. So that's one thing to note. Um, Weavile usually carries Ice Shard, so that's another thing to note. So I want to make sure that I keep Crook out of Ice Shard range. And Keldeo has been running, its new priority move that it got this gen in Vacuum Wave. And that is something that I have to be very aware of because that can catch me off guard real quick. So I do my best to try to scout for it. So let's play the game, shall we? So here we go. Metagross versus Skarmory. Alright, so what does this mean? So this means I can trade with rocks. We just trade rocks. So that's what I'm going to do. They go for spikes. I get my rocks up. Great. Now what happens next? I go Dirge. And what do? They go for spikes. And now what happens? I go for a wisp and catch something that comes in. And guess what happens? It's Pex. I land the wisps. Good thing. And now what's gonna happen is I'm going to switch because I don't need a Terra yet. My bad. I'm crazy. I just don't care. I just don't care. No, okay. All right, let's back up a little bit. Okay, I terrored there. Now, remember when I talked about the last game, right? When I was talking about the last game, I was saying that Terra Poison Dirge is like it's Jesus basically. It's like Dirge is just it's unbeatable. It cannot be poisoned. It's just going to do what it needs to do. It's just gonna be there to be annoying and to not get poisoned. It's my free poison immunity. It's also my free T spike absorber. It's very good at that. Um, and again, most of my team is running boots anyway. And the weirdest thing about this generation, or really, I guess the last two, or I guess even in Gen 8 when the item got introduced, is that as a poison type, you can still absorb T spikes even though you're wearing boots. How does that work? Anyways, so the Pex can't do anything after I Terra poisoned. So they toxic and they're just like, oh no. So anyways, who comes in? They're only switching for this is pretty much Keldeo. Or it could be Weavile catching a potential Hex, which in all honesty, it did look very free here. Now, if I was a smarter player, I would have just Torch Songed because it's free into everybody and it's still going to be doing a good chunk of chip, especially after +1. But again, I'm not that guy. I'm not. I click what's in front of me. I will click what's in front of me because I have no idea what's happening. Like especially again in a meta I've never played before, I'm gonna click what's in front of me because I'm trying to figure it out. Like Pex Peck switching, great, cool. And switching out into the dark type to take the hex move, the ghost move. That just makes sense. So that's what happens here. Oh wait, my bad. Sorry. Well, I did go for Torch Song. Let me just shut up and let the game play. But okay, so I Torch Song on turn 5. Um, but yeah, no, I did click the the torch song move. Hex would have been the play. I should have went for Hex anyway, but I was thinking they go Weavile because Weavile is pretty good into me. But since I already Terra poisoned, Weavile can't really beat Dirge, so that's another thing to note. And that was something I realized a little too late about that. Now Hex wouldn't have killed. Now Hex would not have killed Latios, but it would have done a pretty good chunk into it. It probably would have done at least like up to 80. Because lo and behold, Dirge is not that strong. It's strong after boosting, but prior to boosting, it ain't that strong. It's strong, but again, like I said, it's not that strong. It's only base 110, so it's as strong as Slowking. So it'll do damage, but it's not gonna do anything crazy. Like nothing like like Latios or like a Torn Hurricane or stuff like that. Or like a Greninja with the Surf and Specs or Life Orb, things like that. It's not that strong, but it's gonna do something. So yeah, that's +2 now. I switch out and go Mandibuzz as they reveal the Luster Purge. So okay, so they reveal Luster Purge, and they also hard switch. So the fact they hard switched there meant that they may more than likely be locked in. I think they took Chip too. They did take Chip too. So good chance it could be Specs or they could be Scarfed. Either way, I get to find out what they were, and lo and behold, they were more than likely Scarfed or Specs. So I get to foul play this and just get some chip. And I do get chip on the Sandy Chonks, and they do reveal to be air balloons, so that's great. I get to go Hydrapple, and they go for their Stealth Rock there, as I go for Draco onto the Skarmory switch, and as they switch into the Skarmory after, like getting up rocks with Sandy. So I go back into Dirge, they go for Roar, which was actually a good play from them. I double back into Dirge, and they go for Roost, and now I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna keep spamming the torch song move. Because it's still good. Oh no, I whisked. My bad. Sorry. Okay, I think I whisked there because I was trying to catch Weavile. Which, in all honesty, I don't think I had to do that. I think I was kind of safe just clicking like Hex into them. But again, I'm more afraid of Weavile, even though I know I don't have, even though I know I can still check it. But again, like I'm thinking I'm thinking like what's in front of me and what could potentially come in. So when I saw Skarmory, roost on me as I brought in Dirge, or as I bring in Dirge, um, like Hex just seemed to make the most sense to me because I wanted to catch Weavile, but they ended up letting Lottie get caught, or I guess actually letting it get sacked here. So I have to go back into I go meta here, catching Draco or trying to catch Draco, and they go for it, but they missed unfortunately. So that sucks for them. Um, they go Skarmory there, as I believe I went for the heavy, and yeah, heavy's not gonna do too much. I do get a little bit of recovery back with that too. They go Weavile here, and I think I went for Dirge there. Okay, yes, I go for Dirge here. They go for Terra Ghost, which is odd to me. The Terra Ghost was an odd play. I don't know why they went for it, but yeah, I go for Torch Song. But I guess it was just because they wanted to not be weakened by by that, which makes some sense. But yeah, now Dirge is gonna be taking chip. I go Mandibuzz here, and they reveal to be Life Orb, and that surf did a lot of damage to me. So I know I can take the hit because Mandibuzz is just Mandibuzz is really just that mon. It just lives things. So they go Sandy as I go for Roost again to make sure I'm healthy enough, and I have to switch out. And they predict my switch, so I go into Hydrapple on them, and this is safe. They already tear it, which is the main thing. They tear it already with their Weavile, so that means that they did have Terra Ice. They already wasted it, so that's great. Giga's still pretty free into them, and also I can Nasty Plot too. I go for Draco here. I do not get the kill, but I can, bait the roost or bait the roost in Earth Power. So I do go for it here. Oh no, my bad. Sorry, I'm thinking a little too far ahead. They go for the Draco there or the Brave Bird there. I go for Nasty Plot here, and now I Earth Power on their prediction. No, not yet. No, not yet. But I do it here though. Crazy, right? They go for the last minute, and I take out the Skarmory, which is very funny. Um, Funny because they let that happen right there when they could have just taken their kill, but no, they really wanted to keep Skarmory alive for some reason. So, anyways, I let Hydrapple die, which, in all honesty, I don't think was the right play. I think Hydrapple still had a niche here. It still could put a lot of pressure into them, mostly into the Keldeo. But again, um, seeing as how much Secret Sword was doing, I don't think it would have taken it that well. Um, and then with Lottie still being around too, even with the rocks plus sand plus burn chip, um, I just don't think I can really like pivot around or pilot around Hydrapple as much. Granted, my team hasn't really taken too much damage outside of Skeledirge really, but but yeah. So anyways, I go Slitherwing here, and I go for the first impression there. They go for Crash on me. It does a decent chunk. They go into Pex there as I go for my mornings as I go for my U-turn here. Get a little bit of chip on them. Bring in meta here. And also another thing to note is that since they already Terra'd, Psychic Noise is actually very free into them, and so is Heavy Slam. And I believe on this turn I either went for Heavy or I went for Psychic Noise. I don't remember which one happened here. Probably Psychic Noise. More than likely Psychic Noise. Um, but yeah, they go Lottie there. Yeah, I did go for Psychic Noise there. Not gonna take it out, but again, they're just sacking this mon, so I literally have to pick that up. But yeah, they go for Shadow Ball, and I'm just like, wait, what? Wait. So they respect Shadow Ball, which is something. I go Mandibuzz there, and I just go for Defog after this to remove the hazards because I want to make sure. Oh, actually, I roosted there, which might have been a bad play. I don't know exactly, but yeah, Pex is in here now, and I have to go back into Dirge again. Removing hazards is a is still a good idea. I probably should have done it earlier, or I probably should have done it on that turn that I had it, but I didn't. So yeah, I think I just wanted to make sure I think I just wanted to make sure that I still had the chip up for Pex and still had the chip up for the Keldeo. But I really should have been doing it earlier because then I could have I could bring in Crook a lot earlier for the at this point because Earthquake is very free right now. But the reason why I don't do this yet, and the reason why I still have my Soul Ring alive, is because of the fact that these two have priority and they can still win. So that's why I don't do what I do here. They go for Toxic for some reason, or I mean on my Mandibuzz switch out. They go Sandy here as I go for a Hex there, doing 31. So again, a little bit of chip on that. Mandibuzz comes in and they go for Earth Power. And at this point, I know I can take whatever this does. 56 is a decent chunk, but again, it's Mandibuzz at the end of the day. Mandibuzz is going to do what Mandibuzz does best, live hits and not care. So, um, Pex is back. They double on my Dirge switch, but I go for Roost instead because, again, I just know that after seeing how little Volt Switch did, I can stay in here and not care about what this does. And I can also defog if I really want to, or just, continuously just wall this thing and just roost up. So I believe I just roost up here to keep Mandibuzz healthy. Because, again, health is important. Always remember that. Health is important. So now I throw away Mandibuzz because I don't care about health anymore. So, because I mean, I already did what I needed to do there, and they go for flip turn, which was weird. I was sacking Mandibuzz here because I just realized, okay, yeah, I don't need this anymore. But clearly, they decided to keep this thing, so I get to roost up. And again, I haven't defaulted yet. I know I need to be because that's the right play, but I go Dirge, and again, they Toxic for some reason, so I recover here again because I know it's free, and again, I'll still get something out of it, and they can't kill me. So yeah. Also, I can just sack something too. But yeah, they Volt Switch doing 30, predicting Mandibuzz or whatever. But yeah, I recover here again, or I Torch Song here because it's free, and then Keldeo dies, and just sacking it there. And now in comes Sandy again, who can Earth Power, and I'm just like, okay, let me bring in my my big bird, and they Volt Switch, doing 53, so they got a higher roll there. Weavile comes in. They go for Crash. And at this point, I'm like, okay, you know what? I think Crook is safe. I can bring Crook in and I can Earthquake. Again, Ice Shard at this range is only going to do up to 49. Actually, it's 49 to 57, I think. 49 to 57 or 49 to 58. Either way, we've all going to be hitting hard. But I know for a fact that Crook can live the Ice Shard at this range, and I can Earthquake spam for free. And pretty much that'll be the game at this point. Pex is going to take a lot from rocks and from burn and chip and all that stuff. And they just let Pex go down here. And then they go into Sandy, which, is basically dead anyway on entry. And then Crook just cleans up the game. That's pretty much GG at this point. So yeah, iShard doing 49 at most, or 49 at least. I think that might have been the lowest roll. And they Earthquake, or not Earthquake, and I drop them, and that's GG. So yeah, again, not the highest of ladder, and again, I'm learning. So that's another thing to know. I'm still learning this meta, so I'm not gonna fight people that are gonna be like, like high tier and everything like that. They're learning as well. Um, so yeah. But overall, I learned a lot from this game. I think I played it patiently, and I think I was able to maneuver around a lot of what they had, especially with these two here with their priority options. Again, I didn't know if they had vacuum wave, but I made sure I didn't let them do it. So yeah. Um, so yeah, Life Orb Keldeo is kind of weird on a team like this. I feel like they kind of just scrapped up stuff from Gen 6 and they just wanted to build around it. Like I think that's kind of what their idea was. Like, build around the three most broken mons in Gen 6. Except for the other one. That's a mega and not in the meta anymore. um but But yeah, again, these three were pretty strong together, or they are pretty strong together. They're difficult to take down, especially with a defensive core like this. But luckily, Hydrapple was able to do it with Draco, and Dirge was just able to do what he needed to do. So again, that's just showing you the power of just Terra Poison Dirge. It shuts down every physical mon, and even some special attackers too, as you saw with Sandy, and even potentially with Keldeo. Well, Keldeo, that's another issue. Surf will still does a lot anyway, but mostly again Weavile, Pex, Skarmory, especially Pex. Like it just made Dirge made Pex its bitch. So that's what happened. That's what happened in lighter terms. So this is the last game I'm gonna do because I have to go to sleep and then I have to wake up for work. So this is the last game that I want to show off. So this guy is fairly high up on ladder, and again, I'm just still grinding up as well. So my opponent has a very interesting looking team. They have a dark type, and they have Mandibuzz, and they have Screamtail. They also have Claude. Now, on my team into them, right? Okay, let's break it down. Let's break it down. Let's break it down. Break it down. All right, so what's going on here? What is the diagnosis? So my opponent has a Hisuian Zoroark. They have a Screamtail. They have a Mandibuzz. They have a Clodsire. They have a Quavo, and they have Scizor. Now, Dirge. What does Dirge do? Well, you know what Dirge does best. Terra Poisons and just shuts down the physical attackers. That's what's going to happen here. You know what I'm saying? So this is what I'm saying. So that's what's going to happen here. Now they have a lot of tricky things up their sleeve. They got a Hisuian Zoroark, which can be anything. They have and yeah, they have Hisuian Zoroark, so that can be an issue as a lead in general. It's a very good lead into me, so they can take advantage of that. Um, yeah, that's the big thing. They can take advantage of that. Now they also have a pretty big ground weakness outside of course Mandibuzz, but I mean, if we're being very honest about the tier in general with Yu, everything is weak to ground type moves. Like literally everything is weak to ground type moves. I mean, yeah, sure you can say, oh, but there's Skarmory, and there's Rotom, and there's Levitators, but then Drill, and then Terra happens, and then what happens? Then you have no ground type immunity. So, anyways, back to the topic at hand. Dirge can cover for the physical attackers, so that's important. Burn is very free into them. Hydrapple. Hydrapple's pretty good into well, the Quavo, it depends on the set. Um, Usually their terrors are going to be able to cover for Dirge. or cover. Well, not cover for Dirge, but well, actually, yeah. Sometimes they're Terra Poison. I've seen that a couple of times, and I think even in the team I showed earlier, I think mine has Terra Poison on it to cover for Toxic and stuff, or Terra Steel, one of the two. Um, Either way, those are all good Terras for Quavo. Um, but yeah, again, offensively, Hydrapple does a lot into their team. Draco's free for the most part, outside of, again, the fairy type right there and the Fat Claude right there. So, Draco's still fairly free outside of that. Not Dirge. Slitherwing, close combat's free into them. Like it hits everything. Of course, barring the pink ball over there. The pink ball just walls Slitherwing, so there's that. First impression is nice, but it's nothing crazy I'll be clicking. Mostly I'll be clicking close combat if I have to. Mandibus covers for foul play covers for the physical attackers. So if Quavo wants to start SDing, well, foul play will just nuke that thing. And same with Scissor. If it wants to start SDing, Mandibus will foul play it. Um, Claude can't do much into that. Mandibuzz of their own. I can Toxic it if I need to. The this thing right here, I don't know what Screamtail does. Um, I've only seen like the Wish Protect set. I know it does that very well. And in NU, I know it's ran like a Calm Mind set with Boom Burst, which is very interesting. Very interesting idea. But outside of that, though, I don't know what else this thing does. I guess it can get up rocks too. It has a very wide move pool, so it can do a lot of different things. But but yeah, Mandibuzz can Toxic it, if need be, and then Zoroark foul play. Metagross covers Claude. Foul play is free into not foul play. Heavy Slam's free into everybody. Everybody gets hit up by the slam. Um, Psyshock or not Psyshock, Psychic Noise. I don't really need to be clicking. I don't really need to click that. Body press is like not really needed. Heavy Slam's gonna be free into everybody though. And then Crook just cleans up if needs be. Quake is free on everybody. Actually, it's very free. Earthquake just kind of destroys everybody. And then Mandibuzz just is there. But again, Mandibuzz gets destroyed um, by Hydrapple and Toxic and Dirge, but Terra Poison. So here we go. Let's see what happens. So my opponent led with Clodsire and I led with Mandibuzz. Now you're probably wondering, how does this work? Well, you see, here's the very interesting part about this. They switched. So you already know what that means. They were definitely that was definitely Zoroark. So that was very funny. I go Metagross here and I catch the real Claw, which is even funnier. They go Mandibuzz and I Heavy Slam and it does 31, which is a lot. That is a lot of chip. They go Mandy here as they go for a U-turn, which I'm just like, okay, U-turn is interesting. I bring Meta back in. I can't even talk. I bring Meta back in. They go Scissor there as I go for Heavy on them, and Heavy does a good chunk in the Scissor. That's not bad chip. They Yui does some damage. Nothing crazy. Mandibuzz comes back in. I get Rocks up. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to get foul played, so I'm going to go Mandibuzz. And they go for Roost. And you know what? It's time to Toxic. Never mind, my bad. They go Clyde on the Toxic. So that's the real Claw, by the way. So that's good to know. So again, I got the rocks up to make sure I can verify which one is the real one and which one is not. I press first. Now press was terrible. Why was press terrible? Because it didn't even cover Scissor that much. Scissor would have taken a decent chunk, but nothing crazy. Heavy was definitely the better play. It would have done more in the claw too. But again, I didn't know, and I just went for what I thought was the right play. But yeah, I go for Heavy here. Heavy does 30, which is not bad. EQ doing 32. Still a decent chunk. I do have tech. Also, I have the Psychic Noise. I have the Psychic Technology. They can't recover. So you know what that means. I get to live one more turn. I Heavy there. They Earthquake. They get the low roll. And I live. I live, bitch. So Meta gets to see another day. I take out the Claude. And I 1v1 it. Psychic Noise is so good. This is one of the like let me be real. Let me be honest with you guys about Game Freak's decision to make new moves. This is the best move they made. Psychic Noise is actually the best move they ever made. This move is so good. Like they literally combined like they use a move that no one uses anymore and made it into a move that's actually usable. Like like that's just funny to me. how they just recycle moves and actually just make it so it can be reused. Makes me wonder about how they're gonna bring back Pursuit. Anyways, um, Quavo. So Quavo can kill me, but I say no. Let's not do that. They go for CC, and it does a lot. Does a lot of damage. They go Scream Tail, and I just go for Roost because I want to keep Mandibuzz healthy. Again, health is important. Remember that. Health is important on your Mandibuzz. Keep your Mandibuzz healthy. Keep your Mandibuzz healthy. So, they go for Calm Mind, and I taunted the Scream Tail. And at this point, I'm just like, okay, so I got the poison on that. They go for Bulk Up, and I'm just like, okay, what's happening right now? So they go for that. Um, they Calm Mind again, and to my dumbass, because I don't know Unaware, I'm just like, holy shit, that's a lot of damage. I forget how Unaware works. Again, I don't use Unaware mons. So Dirge is the first Unaware mon I've actually used. And I gotta say, damn, this thing is awesome. So anyways, Quavo. Quavo forfeits. No GG. uh so that's that. Terra, I didn't even have to Terra. I don't think I Terra'd yet. Yeah, I never revealed Terra. And they never tear it either. But yeah, that's just how some games go. Some games they tear. I mean, some games the players tear. Some games they don't. But yeah, that's just another classic case of it. Uh, Terror Poison Dirge would have went off here though. Like I could have just done it right here and it would have been over. But yeah, that's just how it be. That's just how it do. Um, but yeah, it was actually. I think that was Zoroark. I think. Hold on, was it Zoroark? Let me check real quick. I think that might have been Zoroark afterwards, because it took. I don't know if it took 88 or if it took 6. It took okay. That was the real Quavo. Okay, my bad. Yeah. So GG's my opponent. They played it very well. Um, Definitely some interesting stuff with that Scream Tail. Um, Again, a couple notes for myself. I do think that Metagross did a lot of work. Like the fact it took out Claude is the big deal. Like that is the big deal right there. And here's another thing about Claude, right? Claude usually runs Terra Dark to cover for things like Latios and other psychics, but mostly Latios because that's the main psychic. Um, that makes it weaker to fighting types. So I already had Body Press, so um, you know, if it did Terra, then I would have been able to just deal with it right at that point. But yeah, again, Metagross, man. Metagross was very fun. I really liked Psychic Noise on it. It was a very cool tech, and I got a lot out of it. So yeah. I would love to show another game, but I think I'm pretty much done for right now. I've been talking like so long about Skeledirge and about the teams in general, but I really had a lot of fun playing Yu Yu. Um, for how long I've been playing anyway. At some point I'll probably do a live. I don't know when, but yeah. Very fun team. It did a lot of work for me. I do think the team can be reworked in some ways and be tweaked a little bit. And I've been trying like different variations of Dirge with these types of builds with this bulky offense build. Again, it's not the best bulky offense build. There are definitely some changes that can be made to it to optimize it a little bit better. Like I like I wanted to try a balance with Blissey with it. And be able to have a heal bow user so I can avoid getting toxic and getting status in general. But I never figured out how to add Blissey on teams like these. Like, I think Blissey is pretty much like codified to be only for stall. Um, but I do think it can work outside of stall. I think it can work on balance, and even on a semi stall. So sorry, I just had to repeat myself. but yeah, it ain't too bad. It ain't too bad. Um, yeah, again, uh, fun team. I liked it, and I have a couple more ideas in general with Dirge, that I'd like to try out in the future, and even like play some other tiers as well. Again, I do want to get back. I do want to show off some ZU stuff and some RU stuff I've been doing, and as well as getting into UU again too. Or as well as like some more UU stuff, like this team right here with Quavo. I like to show this team off at some point. just show you the power of Scarf Metagross, which is funny because I did catch some people off guard with that, and some other fun stuff I've been trying to. But yeah, again, I'm still playing the game. I'm still playing the game. I'm still learning and still like playing when I'm not too busy. But again, again, I don't know how long you guys have been watching me and how long you've been paying attention to the video, but again, I apologize for not recording and just not being present this year. Again, had work to do, and I just was not able to not be able to do what I enjoyed for you guys. So again, I'm sorry that I didn't get to record videos this year. I can't promise next year I'll be consistent. I can't promise that, but I'll do my best to provide you guys with Showdown Lives as with Warren drawing videos too. So that's all I gotta say. That's gonna be that. Happy New Year, happy holidays, and I guess I'll see you guys for some more videos in the future. Take care. Have a good one. Peace out. Stay safe and wash your hands.